I'm Pastor Henry Hildebrandt. I have this special privilege today to be here with Tamara Lich. Welcome to Aylmer.
Thank you.
About time you show up here.
Yes, agreed.
First time?
Very first time.
What do you think of our little town?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, quaint little town. I love it.
Little paradise, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, truly.
Well, we certainly live in special times, and we are so privileged to have you here tonight. We've been waiting for this time. As a matter of fact, I just read your book, Hold the Line, just finished it. I was in tears. I was in tears. I guess one reason would be because I was there when it happened at 3 weeks. But I thought before we go here, I just wanted to share something interesting with you. What happened many, many years ago where you and I actually connect. Yeah. So my great-grandparents moved from Ukraine, but 1875 they moved to the Manitoba area. The Canadian government sent people to the Ukraine looking for farmers, and they had heard about, I'm of Mennonite background, so they heard of the farmers, and they thought, well, maybe those people could come here and farm. Make a long story short, they came to the Manitoba area, and guess who was there? The Métis people were there. And our people, my grandparents, and our people connected with them, and our people were actually not used to just bitter, bitter cold winters. It wasn't like they were from Siberia, they were from the Ukraine. It's kind of like if you are prepared for an Ontario winter, but not for Manitoba winter. Right. So your people saw what our people were doing, and you're from the Métis tribe, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I thought. Somebody's trying to deny that. Have you convinced Trudeau yet of it, or not?
I think we finally got him convinced. Yes.
Anyway, so your people told our people, well, they basically trained them how to survive in that area, and they told them, look, in order for you to survive a winter here, you can't be in tents. You can't be in just these little shacks. You won't survive it. There's not enough food. You have to gather up some food and whatnot. So, and interesting enough, the Métis people actually trained the first Mennonite midwife in the Manitoba area. Wow. So, quite amazing, isn't it? So years later, you and I meet. 2022, we meet in Ottawa. Quite the time, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
So, Tamara, I am deeply touched by what has happened to you. Like I said, I just finished your book. I was in tears at times. And what I so appreciate about your book is you are telling it like it was. You and I both know when we were there, we heard so many things, basically behind our back from Parliament Hill, just direct lies. What did that do to you? Like just when you arrived, and I know why you came, I know why I was there, and of course you had a heavy load on your shoulders. I came there to support what you were doing. I came there because I heard, I had no idea I was gonna, first of all, I had no idea I was gonna go to join you in Ottawa, but then I heard as the convoy was making it through Canada, it just made such an impact, and it resonated not just with Canadians, but with the whole world. I'm actually quite connected with people, because of my background, I'm connected with people from South America and all over the place, and I mean, it resonated with people all over the place, right? So what was your feeling, if you don't mind, coming there, knowing why you came, and then hearing, I'll just call it for what it is, these insults, just these tremendous lies and insults. As a pastor, I use spiritual language, so it's like wickedness in high places, right?
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
It was very much like that. I have during the 2016 American election is when I really started noticing a change in Canadian mainstream media. I know that they were already, very left-leaning or, following a narrative, but for me, my eyes were really opened during the election, the American election, and I would watch the anchors on CTV News, for example, because I was always the lady that got up every morning, watched the news, drank coffee, and just listened to the loop over and over. And I started really watching, how they would how their demeanor was when they talk about Hillary Clinton, and the descriptors that they would use, and the look on their face even. And then as soon as they'd switch and talk about Donald Trump, it totally changed.
Yes.
Physically, you know, the things that they would say, the words that they would use to describe him. And I was shocked at how blatant it was. So going into this, I already felt that we were going to be vilified and attacked immediately, and I wasn't wrong. I mean, I think we were being called racists before I even left Medicine Hat. So I was fully expecting it. I was surprised at how, like, at the lengths that they went to, you know, with the arson hoax and, you know, the trucker steal, the Russian support. Yeah, like, they were just so blatantly obvious, and that's what shocked me, actually. Yes. They're, you know, they're usually a little more subtle.
Yes, we are so glad. We are so glad you did what you did. I was going to tell you, no matter what happens to you, you know why I know that you are the winner is because you stand for truth. And I read this book cover to cover. There is nothing in this book. There's nothing in this book that you wrote that is exaggerated, that I knew of. It is telling it like it is. I was there. Yeah. I was there. And what encourages me, and I hope that that encourages you, and I hope that keeps you going regardless of what happens to you, is you inspired the whole world. I'll tell you what, remember when we had that honking, what was it supposed to be for 7 minutes straight? Yeah. And it went like 15 minutes, I don't know how long it actually went. Did you know that during that exact same time, truckers were honking in Mexico, truckers were honking in Paraguay, convoys were, they watched the time. Like I said, I have a lot of connections. People were so with us. They were so with us, and they were honking. It's like there was a lot more people there than you could see with your eyes because they were there in spirit.
That's
you know?
Right, yeah.
Your message resonated with the whole world. With me, it started because of a church, because we kept our church doors open. But that same thing resonated when you came with the trucking convoy. It was the same call. It was the same thing, and that's why we speak the same language.
That's right.
And that's why we speak the same language when it comes to other people, whether it's what's her name coming from the European Union,
Christine Anderson.
Christine Anderson.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We speak the same language because humanity is groaning. Humanity is saying, we will not give up our freedom, right?
That's right. Yep.
And to see what we're seeing right now with the children, on the attack on the children, it's tremendous. It's tremendous.
It
but
is.
You are and have become the hero of many, many people. And I believe I can speak for you. Of course, I don't need to. You're right here. But I think what keeps you going, isn't it that way? What keeps you going is to see what it does for people, right?
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, you know, we were at an event in Dresden last night, and a lady came up to me, you know, that was in the lineup for me to sign her book, and she said, "I'm not going to bore you with my story. You've heard them all." And I that's one thing I try to say every time. Every story is important.
That's right.
And it was the stories, you know, that we heard coming across Canada that really solidified our resolve. You know, Bern Buchert put it brilliantly in the movie Unacceptable, the documentary, and he said there was so much hope, but in carrying all those stories with us to Ottawa, it was like carrying a burden of hope.
That's right.
Because they were saying, don't come home until we're free, and we're like, we're not coming home until you're free. You know what I mean? But you're right. The stories were heartbreaking, very sad, but behind them all shows the resilience of the Canadian spirit.
Totally.
And you're right. I mean, that was the most beautiful thing about it. One of them for me anyways was that it didn't matter what color your skin was. It didn't matter what God you worshiped. It didn't matter where you lived, what your income bracket was. It didn't matter who you loved. We were all Canadians. We dropped all those labels.
Yes.
You know, and you were talking about the Terry Fox statue, and you know, they called it, they accused us of desecrating the Terry Fox statue.
Okay.
There was a flag hung on it and a sign that said "Mandate Freedom" put in his hands. But during Pride Month, there's a pride flag hanging off of him, and signs for the LGBTQ community. So you know, it really shows the hypocrisy of you know, what's permissible now to protest and what isn't.
Right, very much so, very much so. And you and I both know that even the Ottawa citizens said they could walk their dog in the morning, there was no issues. And think about it, with the thousands of people that were there, 3 weeks, not one gets arrested. I guess they assaulted the one man, the police assaulted the one man there that honked.
The grandfather.
The grandfather,
Gerald.
of all things. Anyway, I personally still think that even the police found it very difficult at times to do what they were told to do. I try to, every time I walk by the police, try to tell them, thank you for your service.
Me too.
To this day, I am not bitter against the people at all, but I am so disgusted by the system that makes them do what they were doing. I mean, even the night that they came and stole the fuel, it was tremendous. I mean, I guess it must be way more for you than it is for me, but I'll never in my life forget the 3 weeks in Ottawa.
No kidding. No, me neither.
It was tremendous. Many people in the past had to do what you are doing for our God-given freedom, and I'm so glad. I wish more people would follow your example and your resilience. I've learned from what you are doing. I just cannot but stand up. We have a voice. God has given you a voice, and I don't necessarily mean, I mean, I've got a kind of loud voice by nature, but
Yes.
I'm saying we have an opportunity to stand, and what better, Tamara, what better can we do when the people needed us to most to stand, right? To stand up. And I think, well, I'm assured that truth always prevails. And no matter what happens, no matter what they do to you, remember, truth in the end prevails. Just like with the convoy, when we were at the end of the convoy, we would have so much liked if the mandates had been dropped right there and we came home victorious. But I don't know how you feel about this, but I actually think that the victory like this was greater. It had a greater impact on the world. You know why? Because the government showed its true colors.
Yes.
They showed its true colors. They showed us that we have no interest. Even though the de-escalation was well underway, I was in the motel, I looked out, I saw how the trucks were being moved. I saw the de-escalation is well underway. But unfortunately, our Prime Minister was set on it.
Yes.
I will have my way, I will have my way. And oh, how did it hurt the people?
Yes,
How did it hurt the people? But he has done that throughout the past years. And he's actually hurting his own family. And you and I, Tamara, you and I are actually willing to stand up for his own family, things that he doesn't do.
That's right.
So we love the children, we love his children. His children deserve the same as any other children.
That's right, yeah.
And I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for the 9-year-old boy right now, knowing like, why would mom and dad not be together? And why would they not take us to the park? Why can't we be a normal family? So be encouraged.
Yeah, I alluded to that in that last video that I did too, you know, because all those flags, some of those flags with his name on it that you saw there, upset me a bit. And the reason it upset me, like, people are angry. People are justifiably angry. But
Yes.
that flag also had his children's name on it. You know what I mean? And so that's why when I made that video, I tried to emphasize, like, we can do this, and we can be respectful.
Yes.
And I get that you're angry, and maybe that's your form of expression. That's not how I would choose.
Right. I think it's so well said. Their anger is justified, but I think we need to be careful in when we express our frustration, our anger about the system.
Yes.
Don't hurt the children.
Yeah,
His children have no fault in it, none whatsoever. And his children have the same value as ours, and ours have the same value as his.
That's right.
We stand up for all. And your trip to Ottawa, it wasn't a political thing. It wasn't for this party or that party. You're going to Ottawa, the trucking convoy going to Ottawa was standing up for our God-given freedom.
Yes.
Our bodily autonomy,
Yes.
for our freedom that God has given us. So it wasn't a political thing, and politics will not fix it. And I so appreciate what you said in your book. You kept emphasizing we're not right-wing, left-wing.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not. What we are is we are standing for the truth.
Yes.
And we want what the truth says. And that's why I am so convinced what you are doing has already accomplished way more than you might realize. And no matter what happens to you, remember, no matter what happens to you, you have supporters. God is on your side because you're standing for the truth.
Yes.
So we will,
Thank you.
we will not let up. You be encouraged. We are standing with you, and we are so glad you're with us here in Aylmer
I'm
tonight.
so excited, yes.
It is our privilege to have you here, and I am so glad that we are one people. We're one people. Actually, unfortunately, our government tries hard to divide us. They claim the opposite, but they are trying to divide us. And what Ottawa showed us, the 3 weeks in Ottawa, what it showed us, that it's impossible.
That's right.
It's just impossible.
That's right.
And it just, no matter which weapon they try to use, it didn't work. White supremacy didn't work because we were too mixed, too many different people there, no matter what they tried. I don't know if you recall, I was preaching there on the back of the platform, and I had a black preacher from Quebec translating for me.
That's right.
So here's this boy of Mennonite background preaching, and he has this black man translating for him. Didn't look very white supremacy, you know, so it just none of the accusations fit us. None of them fit us because I'll say it like this: our burden was genuine, and our actions were genuine. You couldn't twist it.
No.
You couldn't twist it. And if we were called a fringe minority, it was mighty huge.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. It was a very huge fringe minority.
Yes, yes. So Tamara, what's ahead of you? What can you tell us? Which way do we need to pray? What's ahead of you?
Well, Chris Barber and I are co-accused, and we have a trial coming up that starts on September the 5th and will conclude about the beginning of November for mischief, which is quite unusual, I think. That's a very lengthy schedule for mischief charges, but it is what it is. And yeah, so my lawyer has estimated about $300,000 to cover the cost for this trial, which is an incredible amount of money. I'm very blessed and very lucky that I have the Democracy Fund helping me out. And so,
Wonderful.
And you can donate if you want to contribute to my legal fees. You can donate straight from their website, and it is tax deductible. They are a charitable civil liberties organization. Chris Barber's case is being funded by the JCCF, Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, and same, you can just go to their website to apply to help him. Because it's really important that we're both well-funded. You know, we can't have a weak link here.
That's right.
You know, so we need to make sure that Chris is just as looked after as I am and vice versa. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it because to me, the trial means we get to get more truth out.
That's right.
And they don't scare me, so.
Wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Tamara. Appreciate that. And we hope that all will go well for you and your family. Again, thank you for what you're doing. Oh, I got to mention this real quick yet. What really, really blessed me in Ottawa is different ones, Quebecers came to me and they said, I'm no longer a separatist. He said, I used to hate the Albertans. I love the Albertans.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? How that brought us together.
Yeah.
So my call to the government is, don't divide us. Let us be together because we want to be together.
Yes.
There's only one race. It's called the human race, and we belong. We all belong to it.
Yes.
So. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
And any last words you have to say?
I would just, to conclude, I would just say, you know, that whole experience is chaotic. I call it beautiful chaos because it was chaotic, but it was so beautiful at the same time. Restored my faith in humanity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I
yeah.
felt the same way. So humanity is not, you won't get humanity down easily, you know, because it belongs to God, and God is in control. And we have, right now the people need us, and there's no way we're letting them down.
That's right.
And sometimes it is hard, and you have gone through very, very difficult things, but you have a lot of support. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All the best.